because a lot of us, we don't come, from the background of a mindfulness background. And so, first you gotta wonder, like, what the benefits are. Like, why would I want to be mindful, and why would that benefit me? Yo. All right. What is going on? Welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I am your host, Mark Hendrickson. And if you are brand new to this podcast, if you're brand new to this show, then what you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health and self-development. And occasionally I deep dive into some current events, some topics that I feel like may be related to mental health and self-development. And sometimes I just find them interesting or impactful for people, so I want to break them down. But yeah, that's basically what the show is. If you are not new to this show, if you're a returning listener or returning viewer, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for coming back and supporting the show, supporting the journey, supporting the motion and the notion of the ocean of basically, supporting the idea that, we should all be improving our lives. If you're not confident on where you are right now in your life, then, at least getting one step closer to where you'd like to be, the life you'd like to live, and who you'd like to become. And so regardless of if you're new to this podcast or you're returning to this podcast, I just want to say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. You are the reason that I do what I do. And if you could take a second right now, jump on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe on the show. And then as well, jump on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. Rate this 5 stars, leave a little review. It really helps me out in the algorithm and boost this message out to people that, need to hear it. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you were having a good day, or you had a good day, depending on when you're listening to this. I had a pretty good day. It is just before my bedtime once again as I record this and get this episode out for you guys. I tend to be recording in the evenings nowadays, just because my days have been so jam-packed, taking care of stuff. So, I've had to record in the evenings, and that's been a blessing and a curse. It's a curse because sometimes I stay up too late recording, or I stay up a little bit after and I edit a little bit, or sometimes I'm just so fired up after recording and it wakes me up, the lights, just talking so much, and then I can't get as much sleep. But the blessing is, I wake up the next day and I've got an episode recorded and I got some content to share with you guys. And I got to actually talk about what's on my mind. And sometimes it can be therapeutic and make me more present and make me more mindful of, what I actually think about certain topics. It lets me kind of hear my own thoughts on what I think about certain topics sometimes. And it's kind of a form, when I listen back to it, it's kind of like an audio form of journaling, because I get to hear what my brain sounds like. And so I enjoy recording these podcasts, and one of the things that I have gained from this is that, that audio journaling, that, it's kind of like self-therapy, just kind of hearing myself, my own thoughts, and kind of reflecting back on it. And it's kind of almost like a form of mindfulness. And that topic, mindfulness, is brought up so frequently in the realm of mental health and self-development. And I feel like half the time people are like mindfulness coaches or mindfulness gurus, or they want to teach some spiritual mindfulness. And And, up until the last few years, it really seemed like kind of a new agey, like woo woo type of topic. I never really wanted to delve into. I was never really interested in. And I've realized over the last couple of years, especially in the last year, the importance of mindfulness and the importance of, having some sort of a mindfulness routine and being present and mindful. And, I used to ask myself, like, what's the benefit of this? Is it going to improve my life? Is it going to make me better? Is it going to make me feel good? Like, what is this mindfulness? Am I going to be able to catch like flies with chopsticks? Am I going to be able to, I really couldn't grasp the concept of what mindfulness was and what the benefits actually could be. And I think that a lot of the time we wonder about, if you're anything like me, you wonder maybe about the benefits, if it's even, beneficial to be mindful or what that actually means. Because a lot of us, we don't come, from the background of a mindfulness background. And so, first you gotta wonder like what the benefits are. Like, why would I want to be mindful, and why would that benefit me? And what I've learned about mindfulness is deeply related to what I've learned about mental health and self-development in regards to depression and anxiety. And obviously you guys have probably heard the comparisons, like that anxiety is having your brain stuck in the future and depression is having your brain stuck in the past. When you're feeling depressed, you're ruminating and you're thinking about some of the tragedies that have happened, some of the traumatic experiences that you've faced, some of the mistakes you made, some of the things you feel guilty or shameful about. Sometimes when we're depressed, we're thinking about the past, maybe people that we've lost or loved ones or relationships or jobs that we've messed up or opportunities that have just slipped through our fingers. When we're feeling anxious, we're feeling scared or worried. We're on guard about all of those things that I just talked about happening in the future. It's the fear of those things. So one side of it, depression, is ruminating on, past events that have hurt you and left deep wounds and scars. And anxiety is the fear of, or the state of being on guard for some of these traumatic or damaging experiences, self-perceived as damaging experiences happening in the future. And that's what I think, that's when I think mindfulness comes into play. Because mindfulness is being the practice of being able to bring your mind and your thoughts and your senses, your experiences to the present moment and being present in the very second that you're living in. And there's a lot of ways to practice mindfulness, and I'll rattle off a few of my favorite ways. And then there's some ways that are kind of maybe not my favorite, but I still try to do them as best I can. And so, I'd say if you're just wanting to feel like mental mindfulness, you want a a non-active, a sedative way, sedentary way of practicing mindfulness. Of not basically, if you want a way of practicing mindfulness without having to move your body or sweat or anything like that, it's as simple as trying a meditation routine. If you're brand new to meditation, you've never done it before, you can look up guided meditations. There's plenty of them on YouTube. There's tons of different apps that can help you get into meditation. I don't know what they are because I don't use them, but you can look them up. I'm sure they're great. Most guided meditations would probably be beneficial for you, or for me. I just prefer not to use them. When I meditate, this is the way I would describe meditating for people that are like me, because I normally wouldn't gravitate towards something like something called meditation or anything of the sort. But for me, I find meditation is just kind of observing my own thoughts and not kind of attaching myself to those things and not attaching my identity to my own thoughts and the way I think, the way I feel. The way that I do that is I lay down or I sit, I guess, on the floor, and sometimes I do this in my bed, and I put in earplugs. I put it on like a sleep mask to cover my eyes, trying to get all of my like kind of sensory deprivation going, and then I kind of just lay there with my arms on my stomach and feel my breath, feel my my lungs expanding, my stomach expanding, and I just kind of pay attention to the thoughts that come into my head. A lot of the times they relate to my day that I just had, or maybe thoughts of the future, or things that have happened in the past, kind of the exact same things we were just talking about. Some of the things that just go on in your mind. And then I tell myself whenever I have a thought, oh, I'm having this thought. I don't think just the thought. I think to myself after every single one of the thoughts, I think I'm having this thought. And then I just kind of let that sit there and linger. I sometimes ask myself why I'm having that thought, and then I go through a rabbit hole. Sometimes my brain just wanders, and sometimes I'm able to just refocus back in on my breathing. And then when the next thought comes up, I keep doing that same tactic of just like, oh, I'm experiencing this thought. Oh, I'm thinking about this memory. I'm thinking about this time. Oh, and I just keep telling myself, instead of attaching myself to the idea or the thought that I have, I just tell myself, oh, I'm having that thought right now. I'm having that experience right now. And then I try and refocus myself back on my breathing. And that is essentially the way that I meditate. I do this for about 5-10 minutes before bed every night. And it just kind of, I guess, lowers my anxiety and makes my brain and body feel calm. But, is that the only kind of meditation? Is that the only kind of mindfulness that you can experience? Absolutely not. I find myself in a meditative state a lot of the times, when I am, purposely doing exercise, purposely doing a workout, some sort of maybe a run, a bike ride. I go to jujitsu class. I do some weight training at home occasionally. I do some yoga classes, etc. And again, this is why I said not all of these things are my favorite, because I'm not the biggest fan of yoga, but I do like it for this benefit, and obviously for recovery and flexibility reasons as well. But the way that I find working out makes me more mindful is because, if I can make a workout grueling or excruciating enough, or just uncomfortable enough, I find myself getting into a state where there's nothing else that I can think about, usually other than what my next move is. Like, okay, if I'm running, then I think of my next step, the next block I have to get to, etc. Same thing with bike rides. With jiu-jitsu, obviously, that's all I'm thinking about. With weight training, I'm usually thinking about the next exercise that I have to do and why I'm exercising and what I'm doing it for, etc. Usually, all of these things are encased in a sense of this sucks. And it brings me to the present moment, experiencing what I'm experiencing in that very second, in that very moment. And that's why I find that fitness is one of the best vehicles of mindfulness, aside from meditation or anything like that. Obviously, another mindfulness tactic or technique is some sort of, self-reflection, having journaling, having some sort of a way to hear your thoughts and discuss your thoughts, understand your own thoughts. That kind of goes along with the meditative practices, journaling and self-reflection. Those kinds of things go hand in hand. And then the last, form of mindfulness is kind of just, the type of mindfulness that you experience, subconsciously or I guess, by accident sometimes, not on purpose. We experience mindfulness when we get so focused on a task that, we're not thinking about anything else. This happens to me all the time at work. I'm sure this happens to everybody at some degree in their life, whether it's when they skateboard, when they surf, when they do yoga, when they go for walks, when they're working on something. This happens to me all the time when I'm working on something, especially if there's a bit of music in the background, where your brain and your body just kind of shut off and you go on autopilot, and time doesn't really impact you. You don't think, oh, what time is it? How long has it been? What time is it this time yet, or anything like that. You're just thinking about doing whatever task that you're doing at the moment when you get engaged in something. And I think that this can be, one of the most powerful ways of mindfulness. It can be mistaken sometimes for distractions. Sometimes we think that this happens to us when we're playing video games or watching a movie or anything like that. That's not the type of mindfulness I'm talking about, because a lot of the times when we get sucked into those things and we forget about time and we're getting into a flow state, so to speak, those are actually just being sucked into dopamine rushes provided by movies or video games or anything like that, because you're putting an input in. Right, you're ingesting information, pictures, actions that you're intaking information. And what I'm talking about is more getting a mindfulness flow state built up via actually having output, doing something, building something, working on something, that type of thing. And so those are 3 different types of mindfulness practices that we can, kind of incorporate in our life. And 2 of them are very purposeful. You kind of just like set out to do them, whether it's meditation or exercise or anything like that, journaling, etc. And some of them, it's just kind of like a gift. It's just kind of like a blessing that you get to experience sometimes when you're just working on something and you slip into that flow state. And so that's all I wanted to chat about with you guys today, is break down a little bit of mindfulness and what that actually means and why it's important to you, what benefits that it can have for your life, and how you can incorporate it into your daily life. And if you think that other people need to hear this message, then please do share this with them. Like I said, like, comment, and subscribe, rate it 5 stars, leave a little review, copy this link and send it to your favorite person or your least favorite person, or just an average person in your life. And that'll help me out. And so on that note, I'm going to check out. I'm about to head to bed here. I love you all. Much love. Peace out. I'll see you next Monday. Bye.